What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Curing Reddit Social Anxiety. I have 8 posts I'm going to be going through today. For the record, the way that I find these posts is I sort by new comments, new posts, and then I go through and I find the ones that aren't getting answers that I feel like I could answer, or maybe that have some answers but aren't getting a lot of attention. So these aren't popular posts or hot posts or anything like that. These are people who might otherwise not get a response. So this is for you folks. I'm going to read you quickly the 8 headlines of these posts so that you have an idea of what topics are going to be covered. And then I'm just going to jump right into it after a little blanket advice. Okay, so first let me tell you what 8 topics we're talking about. Number 1, I love talking to people, but I hate talking to people. How do I stop being so fake and smiley all the time? Is it okay to make eye contact during conversations? I get anxiety if I don't make eye contact. How to handle post-social anxiety neediness. Why do I keep myself from approaching new people? Too anxious to get help for anxiety, and I'm so embarrassing. Okay, and those are the 8 topics we're going to be covering today. And before I get into answering those individually, based on my last video, I realized that I said a lot of the same advice to all the individual folks. So I want to put it out there right now that everybody should be, if you're struggling with social anxiety, there's a few things that you should be trying. Okay, these things just will help you. Okay, number 1 is meditation. I suggest using meditation as your first line of defense, as opposed to resorting to the last resort support option of medication, which doctors will prescribe you. Try meditation first, 5 or 10 minutes a day, even 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day. If you can be consistent, that's more important than doing 1 hour once. Making steady progress. Steady progress just means trying to push that zone of comfort a little bit more, even if you can't make that zone bigger every day. You should be heading in a direction where you're slowly trying to, through exposure, desensitize yourself to some of the things that scare you. Okay, meditation, exposure therapy, exercise is really helpful. Diet is extremely important. Sleep, while I understand sleep is hard to get if you're anxious and have insomnia because of that, things like meditation, your diet, and exercise can contribute to your sleep, which will then contribute back to the other ones. It's a cycle. Right now, you're probably in a negative cycle. So it's not going to be easy to do all these new things necessarily right away. And that's okay. You have to just try to take them a little bit at a time. And I suggest meditation, exposure therapy. Your diet is important. Lots of green veggies, protein, fat, not processed stuff. Water, lots of water. If you want to get fancy, fish oil. A lot of people are missing omega-3s that can contribute to anxiety and depression. Vitamin D, get your sun. Get in the sun. If you live in an area where you can't spend 10 or 20 minutes in the sun every day, then you might want to try supplementing with vitamin D pills. Now, I'm certainly not a doctor and I'm not a nutritionist, and there are other supplements and vitamins that you might be missing that could contribute to your anxiety now. So I'll just say it as a blanket statement. You should be meditating. You should be exercising. You should be trying to optimize your sleep, get enough sun, optimize your diet, and exposing yourself to the things that scare you. Okay, that's the blanket advice. Thanks for sticking with me that far. I'm going to jump now into the specific posts. All right, number 1. This is from Scarface Saints. They say, I love talking to people, but I hate talking to people. I'm very outgoing, not shy in the least. I'll talk to anyone who will talk to me. But once I'm like 5 minutes into the interaction, I feel incredibly stupid because I have nothing to say besides one-word answers. It feels like my mind goes blank and I forget everything I know about anything. It becomes hard to formulate a sentence that's coherent. I just smile and nod, acknowledging what they're saying until they're done and walk away from me. Okay. I relate to this. This sounds to me like you're a little bit ahead of most people in the social anxiety community because you already consider yourself outgoing, not shy, and you like to talk to people, anyone who will talk to you. It just sounds like there's a period that comes up about 5 minutes in where you go blank and you start to trip yourself up. You just smile and nod, acknowledging what they're saying until they walk away, right? This is a symptom of the pressure that you're putting on yourself. And even if you don't consider yourself a shy person, even if you can acknowledge that you're outgoing and you love talking to people, which is fantastic that you feel that way, you're farther ahead than a lot of people who suffer from social anxiety because of that. You're still tripping yourself up. You're putting some type of pressure on yourself. And that's why 5 minutes in, you feel in your head that you're only able to hold up the beginning of a conversation. In your mind, you don't think that you have enough to be interesting or engaging. You think either that you're not interesting enough and that you just don't want to sound stupid and say something dumb, so you just resort to one-word answers or nodding and acknowledging. Maybe it's a self-worth issue to some degree. So what I would suggest in a situation like this, it sounds like you say your mind goes blank, but I don't really believe you. I think what's going on is your mind is racing during those 5 minutes. And then when this time comes for you to speak, and this is from experience, you've been so caught up in the raging white water river of your thoughts that are just carrying you, that you're just trying to stay afloat in that white water river while this other person is talking to you. For 5 minutes, you can hold it together. And after that point, you start to drag yourself down. This is because of, like I said, the belief that you have that you are on some level not interesting enough. So let me give you a specific tip. Try the previous advice, the blanket advice I gave in the beginning, like meditation, the exercise, the diet, the sleep. That will help you to improve your concentration, particularly the meditation. So try that. But I want you to try to use your attention to really focus on the person in front of you. Focus on what's outside of your eyes, in front of your eyes, not what's behind your eyes and what's going on inside your head, okay? Try to actually listen deeper. Almost get outside of yourself. Become so immersed in what they're saying that you are paying attention to the subtleties of their face, little twitches. And it might seem, you might be uncomfortable to try this because it feels sometimes scary and confronting. We're going to get into that later in the eye contact stuff, to look deeply at someone. It can feel confronting, and I'll talk about why that is in a bit later on in this video. But you have to try. Try to listen with your eyes. Get outside your head. Focus on their face, on the emotions, on what they're saying to you. Listen to them. And give that a try, because that alone can slow down that getting drowned in your own river of thoughts. It can slow that down. It can keep you above water because you're there present in the conversation, not getting stuck in your own head. And with that, you can then respond more in a more engaging way with the person in front of you because you're actually listening to them. Okay, and try, if you're not comfortable yet to talk about what you're interested in, try to ask them questions about what they're interested in. People are interested in those who find them interesting. So anyone can be interesting. Everybody has something interesting about them, some less than others. But anyone you're speaking to, you can find something to focus on, which will then allow you to engage with them. And they will feel the engagement, and you will suddenly find yourself able to speak more than one-word answers. Now, just to quickly finish up on that point, I suggest also trying to start expressing how you feel, the things that are really going on with you. It doesn't have to be cool. It doesn't have to be particularly interesting. Anything that's going on with you, said with enough honesty, is interesting. Okay, I could tell you about my deepest, darkest insecurity, and I talk about them often on this channel and across all my platforms. And you might think that something like that, I can't say that, but that can be so engaging and connecting to do that, all right? So also try to push the boundaries of what you're comfortable sharing about yourself, and don't think that it has to be cool or special in any way. Just as long as it's true, all right? Good luck. On to the next. KLE3331 says, how do I stop being so fake and smiley all the time? Yeah. Since I get nervous, I'm laughing because I've been there. Since I get nervous around people, I'm constantly really smiley and overly nice, that I don't really have a personality. And I understand it's annoying and impossible for people to really connect with me because I'm so focused on keeping this smiley, sweet image when no one really wants that, and I'm sure it's uncomfortable. But for some reason, I just can't let loose and stop trying to impress people. Anyone experience this and have advice? I've experienced this before for sure. The positive here is that you understand that it's annoying and hard to connect with you because you're so focused on keeping that image and you're sure it's uncomfortable. You're showing a lot of self-awareness here, which is great. Self-awareness is one of the most important things that you can have socially or psychologically, because without it, you can't grow adequately. You're just going to get stuck in your own bullshit, okay? So this is, that's good. The good news, okay? You have self-awareness. That's if not the most important, it's definitely in the top few important things you could have. So congratulations on that. You're ahead of the curve. As far as being really smiley and overly nice, this is so common. This is what we call the difference. The distinction is trying to make an impression versus trying to express yourself. All right? Trying to impress someone else, trying to make yourself fit into some kind of box or category that's going to make other people like you, versus trying to make yourself someone that you enjoy being. That's the difference between making an impression versus expressing yourself. All right? So you're already aware that you're trying to impress people. So it's actually quite a simple advice that I'm going to give you. It's literally just focus on expressing yourself. The things that are within you at all these times, when you're trying to put on this smiley, nice face, dude, I've been there. It's very likely left over from some childhood programming, whether teachers or your parents or some kind of authority figure. This is common, okay? And so it's good news, because the answer is actually very simple. It's straightforward, all right? All you have to do, along with all the stuff I told you in the very beginning of the video that everyone else should be doing as well, you should be focusing on stretching your boundaries as far as expressing yourself, okay? You don't have to have this smiley face all the time. In fact, I challenge you to put the face on how you feel. Allow your face to show what you feel. If you're upset, you can show it. You don't have to walk around crying, but it's okay to show that. It is okay to do that. You don't have to do it like that. That's a crazy example, perhaps, but expressing the things that you're scared to show because you feel people won't accept them. That is the problem that's stopping you now. And it's liberating to know that the thing that will free and save you is to stop having to hold all that in. All right, that should be a relief to you. It may be a bit scary, sure, but it should be a relief, okay? You can let go. You can start to show how you really feel. It doesn't have to be a smile. You might think, if I show how I really feel, then people are going to be intimidated if I have a weird look on my face or something. But that's okay. You're not trying to impress them. You don't have to change your face or how you look, how your expression is, to impress them. In fact, that's what's hurting you. And you can never impress everybody anyway. And in fact, you will impress more people if you just express yourself and not try to impress, okay? So, be okay with allowing how you really feel to show, trust that the truth of who you are, if you're a good person, is going to be better in terms of your relationships and your connections, rather than whatever fake thing that you think people want to see, which you've shown here that you're aware isn't working for you, okay? Expression versus impression. Good luck, buddy. On to the next. Is it okay to make eye contact during conversations? Says Paranoia Brazil. I have no problem making eye contact, but sometimes I make a conscious effort to look away. Yesterday I was talking to a girl and our eye contact was kind of intense, and I looked away because I feared making her uncomfortable. Last month happened the same thing with a guy, but I looked away multiple times due to the fear of him getting angry at me and beating me up. What's your opinion? Wow. At least you don't have a problem making eye contact in general. That's great. You're asking, is it okay to make eye contact during conversation? Yes, it should. You should. There is a level of balance between looking at someone and looking away that you will settle into naturally. Okay. And right now, when you're anyone who's trying to work on their eye contact, there's always an awkward period where you have to figure it out. That's just the way it's going to go. But you already don't have a problem making eye contact for the most part. You just have to look away because it gets intense. So here's the thing. Let's talk about the girl first. If you're talking to a girl and eye contact gets intense, you look away because you fear making her uncomfortable. That's natural, okay? Especially in today's world, as a man, I assume you're a man talking to a woman, that's natural to not want to make her uncomfortable. However, you might be making her uncomfortable by looking away if that's uncomfortable for you. Because what we feel as humans, what the other person in front of us feels, generally, those of us with healthy brains and empathy. So I would challenge you, because I've been where you're at, to open yourself up a bit to that intensity. Allow the intensity to be there. It might be a bit uncomfortable. And the intensity isn't a bad thing, actually. That can be attraction building. That can, it's intense to look at someone who you like or who is attractive or who you're having a nice conversation with. And to feel that connection building through eye contact can be emotionally charging, and that can feel very intense, and it can be scary, and that can make us look away. I can't tell you how many dates I've lost because I was too scared to maintain that intensity. I was uncomfortable with how that attraction felt, okay? So give that a try. Try just feeling that intensity and allowing it to be, and not resisting it, and just seeing where it takes you. And that's okay. It's okay if it makes you feel nervous, because they're probably feeling it too. It's not just you, okay? It's all right. Ride it out. Try that. And with the man, you looked away due to the fear, of getting angry and him beating you up. The thing about that is that that's biological, okay? This is not something that's within your control. You don't have to feel bad or guilty for being that way, because that is biologically built into you, my friend. You and I have the same general genetic history. And back when our biological, back when we were developing biologically, in the early days of evolution, making strong eye contact it's either we're friends and we're connecting right now, or it's like we're about to fight. So I went to a monkey forest one time in Indonesia, and they told us don't look the monkeys in the eyes. If you do, they'll feel threatened and they might attack you, okay? Those are monkeys, all right? We descended from similar animals, okay? It's still in monkeys now, and we still have it now. It is an old biological thing in your head, a warning, keeping you safe by saying, don't look someone in the eyes too intensely, because that elicits some kind of fear or potential attack, the fear of potential attack. That's what it is. That's what's going on there. And today, even, you look at, if you're in a bar or whatever, and two alpha men make eye contact that goes on a little bit too long, and let's say they're kind of both stubborn, one of them goes, well, what are you looking at? And the other one's like, what are you looking at? Do something then. And then there's a fight, right? Even now, there's a real validity to it. But you don't have to worry. Okay? If you're not in a position, if you're not trying to, stir up any problems or cause trouble, or you're not in some intense argument or something, if you're just speaking to someone, you should embrace feeling that. Embrace it. Like I said with the other advice, open yourself up to the intensity of it and allow yourself to connect with them that way. All right? That's my advice. Good luck. I'm going to switch out my battery and we'll be right back. All right. On to the next. Me Chugga says, I get anxiety if I don't make eye contact. Interesting. No idea what to call this, but I have a compulsion to look people in the eye, complete strangers. This wouldn't bother me if I didn't get uncomfortable and anxious when I'm not making eye contact. Has anyone else experienced this? I can't find any info on it. This is interesting. I actually haven't heard this. This is not common in the social anxiety or self-development world at all. To get anxiety if you don't make eye contact. It's typically the opposite, right? And you seem to be aware of that. You've said you can't find any info on this. But here's the thing. If you listen to the previous few minutes, the last post that I talked about of, is it okay to make eye contact? You would have heard me say the whole evolutionary history. And if you hadn't heard that, just scroll back to the previous one and watch that one, because it'll be helpful here. But the actual benefit of this is not a bad thing. Now, if you feel like you have to look everyone in the eyes as they're going down the street, like really intense, then that could be weird, yeah. But probably that's not what's going on. It sounds to me like maybe you're just looking for eyes. You're looking to see their eyes, and that's where you should look. People, their intentions are given away in their eyes. So you're actually, this is not a social anxiety issue insofar as this is positive. You feel anxious if you don't know people's intentions, which you should. This means that you want to be aware. To me, this sounds like you want that awareness to be able to see where people are at in their eyes. That's the best place to find out where they're at, if you can read eyes. And you're saying that you have a compulsion to look in the eye. So I honestly don't think this is negative. I think if you can, mind the advice I gave in my previous response, as far as eye contact goes, this is good thing. This is good news. You should, if you want to be able to protect yourself, your potential future children or current children, your girlfriend or boyfriend or partners, your friends, your family, those you care about from threats. Threats come from people, all right? Unless you're like in the plains of Africa or the jungles of, I don't know, wherever they have dangerous animals. If you're like around people, generally, they're going to be the thing that could threaten you. Okay, so it is very important to look people in the eyes. And if you feel a compulsion to do that, I don't think that's a negative thing. So long as you're being mindful and have some degree of self-awareness while you're doing so. Okay, like I said, you don't want to be going down the street eyeing people like wide-eyed and looking like you're on crack or something. There's definitely those folks as well. And if that's you, maybe you can clarify in the comments and we can talk about that. But the way I interpret this, it's not a bad thing. I think this is positive. This shows to me that you have ambitions to lead, to be responsible for those around you. That's kind of what it feels like. So if I got it wrong, let me know. But otherwise, good luck. On to the next. One and only Einaudi says, how to handle post-social anxiety neediness. They say, what I mean by that is, since I've more or less overcome social anxiety in a sense that I don't deny I have it anymore, did a couple years of therapy and introspection and am now capable of feeling like myself around people. I've come to realize that I have some sort of awakened/triggered neediness to make up for all those years. I suppressed that need, probably due to my years of isolation and I don't need anyone, I hate people attitude. I know that we do need people. We need socializing for energy, mood, and to feel like we belong. I have a crush on every person I meet, basically, or more like those I meet and like. And even though I don't even know them. And I tell myself to set the bar low, have low expectations, but my expectations end up being extremely high. I feel like at uni, I need constant attention or else I feel excluded. And I don't want that. I don't want my happiness or mood to depend on people. All right. It's a great question. First of all, congratulations on going through the therapy and the introspection and the work to be able to more or less overcome social anxiety, in your words. Well done on the social awareness to realize that you have some sort of awakened neediness to make up for the years of suppression. This is key. You're seeing clearly, all right? So I hope I can be a little bit direct with you here and help you straight away, all right? This, you're accurate. You mean, you're right. The years of isolation do lead to that I don't need anyone and I hate people attitude. But you do now know, as you've acknowledged, that you do need people for mood, for energy, to feel like you belong. So let's talk about the having a crush on all of the people who you meet. I'm just going to assume that you're a guy and that they're girls, just to make the explanation easier. So when you are at university and you're meeting girls now, you've spent all of these years starving yourself, not willingly on purpose, but starving yourself, isolating yourself of one of the most important things that humans need outside of air and water. It really is so important to be able to socialize. I mean, that's why when you go to prison, the worst punishment in prison isn't being in a large room stuffed in like sardines with murderers and rapists. No. What is the worst punishment in prison? Isolation. That should tell you something, okay? It is extremely important to us. So you've essentially been locked in some sort of prison on your own, right? For years now. And you've come out of it to a degree. I imagine coming out of that has opened up certain sensitivities. I'm assuming that. And that might be what's going on here. In fact, I would say that is definitely what's going on here. When you now go out, no longer starve, like maybe still starving, but no longer without access to nourishment. You now have the tools to go out there and to talk to people, and you've overcome more or less your social anxiety. You've beaten like the dragon when it was at its scariest, and it's all like smooth sailing, relatively speaking, from here on out. Okay? So this is a good thing. If you have a crush on everybody you meet, the people you like, the girls you like, whatever, that's good. You should embrace it. Let yourself get nervous. Let yourself get awkward. Show it. Talk about it. Express it if you can. Find the courage, whatever courage you can, to own where you're at. I mean, honestly, really talk about it. I'm not... I'm being literal. Speak about how you're feeling with some of these people. They're not all going to jump on you for it. And that's not the point. It's to open up your sensitivity. It's to acknowledge and accept where you're at, so you're not fighting against yourself anymore. Okay? It's okay. It's a good thing to feel like this attraction to lots of people. That's natural. That means you're opening yourself up. It's a great thing. I'm envious of you where you're at right now. It's a brilliant time. It can be a brilliant time in your life, okay? As far as the expectations, though, and setting the bar low, yeah, this is the problem. You feel like you need constant attention, or you feel excluded, and your expectations end up being extremely high. Probably you're like, you have a crush on someone and you think, oh, if they're not, you're future fantasizing about what it would be like to go on dates with them, or to, what it would be like to kiss them, or to make them your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever. That's where it can get tricky. And the thing that I suggest doing is to meet more people. If you have a bigger volume of people in your life, especially considering, we have to remember, you've come out of this dark time, presumably dark and lonely, and you're now like a starved man who's been locked, away eating breadcrumbs. Now you have access to like any type of food. And for someone who's been starved, to go and just stuff yourself with food, you're probably going to make yourself sick. Okay, your body has to acclimate to all the different flavors and ingredients before you're going to be able to actually handle that food. This is a real thing. If you're eating a singular type of food for a long time, if you're stuck on a desert island or whatever, and then you get reintroduced to regular food, it's going to make you sick most likely. I mean, it might taste really good, but you're going to gorge. You're not going to know what you can and can't eat. You're going to be so hungry, you're going to want to just stuff yourself full of it. All right. And that's the neediness. It's the, like you said, the awakened neediness, like leftover. Okay. So I suggest meeting a lot of people, because if you stick to a couple of people who you have certain high expectations for, when those expectations aren't met, that can crush you if that's your only source of nourishment or potential source of nourishment. So I really suggest branching out, join a club, go to where it's easy to socialize. Find those places that they force it or make it easy. So it's not like, as opposed to going and meeting introducing yourself to a beautiful woman on the street, which is great to be able to do and terrifying as well. Then try finding a club at university that focuses on your interests, just so you start to branch out and meeting more people. The club will make the socializing more easy, because that's the whole premise. And you want to make it as easy for yourself right now just to acclimate, okay, to the nourishment that is now available to you everywhere. I hope that was helpful. I really like this question. And again, I think you're in a great time in your life. This could be the most amazing next few years for you. So I wish you the best of luck. On to the next. Why do I keep myself from approaching new people? From business gains. They say, I'm pretty sure I have some kind of social anxiety. However, by doing things and getting out of my comfort zone, I feel like it has become way less than it used to. Nonetheless, I still struggle. For example, it's easier for me to step and approach girls in a club, even groups of girls, but during the day it is so hard. This is what we were just talking about. For instance, I went multiple times to a coffee place, mostly because I liked a girl there, and I'm pretty sure that she had the same feelings for me because she gave me obvious signals, but I couldn't get myself to start a conversation with her. I think it is the anxiety of getting rejected. I wish I could improve my skills to talk with girls a bit, because these situations always happen to me. I start pretending that I don't care about the girl. I'm not sure why this happens. Would be great if anyone here had some advice for this. Well, that particular line, I start pretending that I don't care about the girl, I'm not sure why this happens. That's a key here. This is similar to what again, in the previous response I talked about. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. We our brains are very powerful, and their goal is to keep you safe. It's not, your brain is not designed to push you towards success. Some people are better wired that way, but our brains are built to keep us alive and safe. So you pretending like you don't care about the girl is a product probably of years of isolation, social anxiety, loneliness, whatever, that have made you feel like you can't have a relationship with the girl. So your brain says, well, I don't even need them. It starts coming up with ways to rationalize it. It says, well, if I can't get girls, then maybe I can just figure out a way to not need them anymore. You will convince yourself of that. And it's not like so, I'm not saying that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You obviously can. You're saying you can see that you start pretending like you don't care and you don't know why it happens. So you're actually aware of what I'm saying. You've seen it in your brain, that thing that your brain does where it starts to pretend like you don't care. And that's to protect you. It's to keep you safe. But the thing is, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's actually dangerous versus what's just scary. So this, like you said, this is a fear of rejection. Was it you said this? Yes. I think it's the anxiety of getting rejected. So it's impressive to me that you say that you have been doing things to get outside your comfort zone, and you've worked on it and improved your social anxiety. It's impressive that you're able to step and approach girls in a club, even groups of girls, because anybody knows that can be terrifying as well. However, when we get to this one girl, here's the problem, dude. Like I said in the previous response, when you're coming from this isolated past and you've been starved for acceptance and love and affection, you will start trying to get it from the first source that you think you can without having to stretch yourself or grow too much. So the first girl that gives you a little bit more attention, that you feel there might be a little bit of a vibe or connection there. People who are coming from a history of loneliness and anxiety and isolation will latch on. And this might be what's happening to you. So I want to caution you not to make it too big of a deal in your mind. Certainly not any more than you have. It's totally fine. It's just one girl. You might have a great connection. You might just have a regular cool connection, okay? And there's no way to know now, and it's only going to hurt you to fantasize and imagine what connection that would be like now before you just speak to her, okay? Now, if she's working at a coffee shop, you didn't say she's working there, though. You just said she was at the coffee shop, but it sounds like you went there multiple times because she was there multiple times. So if she's working, it can be a little bit more difficult to test that connection because she's behind, first of all, she's paid to be nice. It would be unprofessional of her to be, caught openly flirting or setting up dates with customers. So you have to be a little bit subtle. If she's working there, I suggest, you go, but you stop by. You don't think of it in your mind like this is a potential girlfriend in the future that we might get married and have 5 kids or something. Just think that cute girl at the coffee shop who we have a cool connection. That's it. Just keep it like that. Cute girl at the coffee shop, because that's what it is. It's not your future girlfriend. And if you start thinking like that, you're definitely going to mess it up. Okay? The way to do it is to, while you're still transitioning into someone that you feel is a better version of where you're at than who you are now, I suggest, like I said to the previous person, keeping your options open. I think it's important to meet a lot of different people and put yourself in situations where you can actually test the connection out. Okay, if she doesn't work there, it would be a little bit easier. Then you could just ask her, just chat to her, say, hey, can I sit here? What's going on? Whatever. I'm not going to get into all the stuff of conversation today. That's a different topic. But if she does work there, you could go in, you could get your coffee, do a little bit of harmless flirting, see if you connect, genuinely see, joke around. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give you exact advice on asking her on a date or anything. It's a whole nother topic. But if she's giving you obvious signals, just enjoy that. Okay? If it's true that she's feeling the same way, she'll be happy when you walk in. All right? And that's how listen, I had an ex-girlfriend. Might be helpful for you. I had an ex-girlfriend who I actually met her working behind the counter, similar to you. It wasn't a coffee shop, but similar situation. And it was a little corner shop. And I would go to that corner shop regularly. It was near my house. I would stop there for whatever, beers, water, whatever, okay? And I would hope that she would be there during those first times, And I probably went, 5, 10, 15 different times or something, that we would have little conversations. We'd chat for a bit, flirt, joke around, laugh a bit. And it was eventually obvious to me that we had a connection, but I still didn't ask her out. I was still meeting other girls every day in other places. I wasn't relying on this one girl. That's pretty important, I think, because I wasn't trying to speed it up or get anything. I was just enjoying this cute girl behind the counter, which is how you should do it, and not relying on that's the one, that's my potential girlfriend. You should have plenty of options that you're trying to meet, okay? However, eventually, I actually saw her right outside, and I was like, hey, we're having a party tonight. Do you want to come? Please come. And she did, and then we started dating. So it can be like that, all right? That was a little bit all over the place. I hope you found it helpful. Good luck. On to the next. We have 2 more. This video is long as hell, but that's all right. Too anxious to get help for anxiety. Yikes. For anyone who has seen a doctor, this is by Calicon. For anyone who has seen a doctor or a therapist about their social anxiety, how did you do it? I've literally been trying to psych myself up for years and haven't managed it yet because I need to call health insurance to find out what coverage I get for mental health services, and phone calls make me anxious. 2, I need to get a referral from a physician in order to see a therapist, and doctors make me really anxious. And number 3, the idea of actually talking to someone about all of my deepest insecurities and loneliness over the last decade makes me feel like throwing up from anxiety. How do I get myself to a professional? I can't manage this on my own anymore, but I also can't reach out for help. Yeah, this is a real bummer. This is the reality, folks, of what social anxiety can do. It can trap you. I'm sorry you're stuck like this. I will say, I'll try to give some advice in a second, but I'll say that if that doesn't help, you can reach out to me. We can do a phone call, a Skype call, with or without video if you want. I won't charge you anything. Just if you're I'm a person who's struggled immensely with social anxiety in the past and overcome it to a degree that I did not think possible. I still get general anxiety about things that need to be done, and social anxiety in very particular situations regarding my family, in my case. But all the other stuff we've talked about, I've blown it out of the water for me. So I empathize is my point, and I've made progress myself, and I felt how you felt right here. Phone calls used to make me anxious, and doctors as well, and I didn't want to reach out, okay? I really empathize with you here. So if you can trust a random guy on the internet who is not going to judge you and just wants to help, get in contact with me. We'll do a 20 or 30 minute call. It may be throughout that call, I can share some kind of good energy or information with you that will make some of this stuff feel less overwhelming, okay? That's the best way that I feel like I could help, is just talking to you. I empathize. This sucks. If you can't reach out for help and you want to, I mean, I feel for you. So that being said, if that's not what's going to happen, if you don't want to take me up on that, I understand. You need to take a baby step. That's what needs to happen, because you've actually locked yourself in a cycle here, which you won't be able to get out of. It's only going to get worse and worse. You said you've been trying to psych yourself up for years. That's at least 2 years. Who knows how long it's really been? And I would assume that it's been getting worse, right? That's not a crazy assumption for me to make. So it's not going to get better unless you start to take some kind of baby steps, okay? If you can't call your health insurance yet, if you can't call your physician or a doctor yet, you have to talk to someone about something. And if you can't talk out loud to someone, then write about it here. So even writing here in the social anxiety group is a positive step, because you're talking about your problems a little bit. And if that is helpful for you to just get it out via text and typing, then I suggest finding a forum like this one, perhaps, where you can talk, express some of those things, get them out, like when you're holding them in, it creates this pressure, right? And then eventually they explode out in some weird way. But if you can start to get some of these things out of your head and off your chest, even to a non-professional, that might be helpful. All right. So if you can't call me or call someone else, try, expressing what's going on with you here in the social anxiety forum or somewhere else. Ideally, it would be with someone who is either a professional or just someone a little bit further along than you, who can help and has good intentions and wants the best for you. Again, reach out to me for free. I generally charge for that, so I would just be happy to help. Reach out. Good luck. Best to you. Last one here. This is definitely my longest video so far. What are we about? 40 minutes plus? All right. The last one is, I'm so embarrassing, by Shout133. They say, I hate myself. Every single day, regardless of what I do, I always somehow manage to make a fool out of myself and embarrass myself in front of everyone. In any situation, whether it be a social one or even if I'm by myself, I still somehow mess something up. And I feel so bad, and not just for myself, but for my best friends who are there with me. Most of the times, I just have to stand up and leave the room because everyone was laughing at me, even though I have no idea what I did wrong. Relatable, anyone? Yeah, it's relatable. This is the I hate myself loop that you're in. I'm so embarrassing, I hate myself. I'm so embarrassing, I hate myself. Those are your first 2 lines here. I'm so embarrassing, I hate myself. I'm so embarrassed. This is a loop. You're stuck in a cycle. I know that cycle. All right? It's brutal. And that's actually your problem. You're not messing things up. The way that you're messing up is that you're judging yourself negatively for what happens. Everything you do, you judge yourself negatively, and then you judge yourself negatively for judging yourself negatively, and the cycle continues. I'm so embarrassing. I hate myself. Why am I so embarrassing? I wish I didn't hate myself. It's a cycle like that. And it can drag you down and down and down. And to the point where that's all that fills your head. To the point where you start to lose basic functions. You start to lose control over your faculties, over your hands and your feet. You start to get physically awkward because you're so locked up and stuck. And every time that you do something else that you can judge yourself negatively for, another voice kicks in that says, oh, I hate myself. And then your body responds, okay? You're stuck in a loop, all right? I'm going to tell you what I think could help. Definitely do everything I said in the beginning of this video, along with, I don't know if you've watched all the other ones, but a lot of this stuff could be helpful for you that I've said. But you need to basically step in to that negative loop, and you need to add some forgiveness in. You need to, at one point in the cycle, because I know how it goes, where you're like, again, I'm so embarrassing, I hate myself, and then it goes down and down, and then you find another thing, and then because you're so locked up, you get up to stand up, and then you kick your chair awkwardly, and then you're like, shit, I'm so stupid, why did I kick the chair? And then because you're thinking about that, you trip, and then you fall, and then people are laughing at you, or whatever. Okay, it's a vicious cycle which can affect you like that. At some point on the cycle, it might not be after the first negative thought. It might be like number 4 or 5 or 11 or 12 or 26, 27. But at some point, you've got to jump into your thoughts and be like, and laugh at yourself positively. Like, oof, man, I just noticed myself doing it again. There's that brain going crazy. You know, it's your brain doing this. It's your brain is locked in a cycle. You hate the thought patterns that your brain has convinced you are you. That's what you hate, okay? So next time you notice them, at some point in the loop, you got to step in and forgive yourself and your mind for what it's doing. Quick example again, you're like, I hate myself. I'm so embarrassing. Your body's locked up. You stand up to leave. You kick the chair awkwardly. Now you're like, oh, why am I so awkward? I kicked the chair. Now you're thinking about that, and you trip and fall. At some point there, you have to say, oof, like take a load off and be like, oof, yep, my brain just did it again. Because then you've just stopped the pattern. My brain just did it again. There it goes. You see how you're taking yourself out of the loop by doing that? I mean, you might get dragged down a bit. You can't control that. To some degree, your brain is built on patterns, and it's going to follow patterns that it has programmed into it. So on some level, you're going to get dragged down the cycle, but you got to step in and say, it's all right. And you have to learn to laugh at that, because it's not you, it's your brain doing this funny thing. And then if you can do that, like imagine if when you stand up and kick the chair awkwardly, if you laughed at yourself like, I was in my head and thinking, and then I got up and kicked it. Like, you don't have to say it out loud. You just forgive yourself. You have to step in and change that cycle. I know I've repeated myself a lot there. I hope that's helpful. You shouldn't feel bad for your best friends either, because they're likely not thinking about it the way you are. Certainly they're not analyzing and judging you negatively as much as your own brain is doing. Okay? So people are thinking about themselves oftentimes. We're thinking about ourselves. People are probably not judging you, even your best friends, as bad as you're judging yourself. Okay? So learn to step in to that cycle and laugh it off whenever you can at any stage, and forgive and accept it. And try to begin doing that closer and closer to when the initial thought happens. All right? That's as far as the last thing I'll tell you is that if you say I hate myself, I just challenge you to ask yourself, what kind of person would you be proud to be? What kind of person would you be proud to be? And not hate to be, but love to be. Who would you love to be? Who is that person? How do they look? How do they talk? What do they do? What are their actions? What are their behaviors? How do they treat people? How do they respond to negativity? How do they respond to judgment or self-judgment or fear? The person you'd be proud to be, how do they react and respond? How do they act? Okay, think about that. It's a challenging question. If you think about it and start to move towards that person, that will help with the self-hatred as well. All right, this has been a long one. I hope that you found it helpful, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. I'm out. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm a professional YouTuber, supposedly. Professional. What a joke. I'm a YouTuber. So I gotta ask you for your support. Please hit that thumbs up button if you made it this far. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Hit the bell. All right. I'm about my business here. You want to get these videos. All right. Subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you found it helpful. Drop me something down there. It helps, YouTube know that this video was helpful, and just I really appreciate it. So thanks again. Later.